Okay, hey Rachel, thanks for joining me on the startup interview show here. It's a pleasure to have you on. It's been some time since we had first met at a health tech networking event in New York City, so it's good to see you again. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So you work on an array of different, very interesting products to help people out, which I was looking at your website. All of them seem very interesting. But before we jump into that, do you mind just telling me a bit about your background? What brought you up to this point? Yeah, just tell me a bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I actually started out my career as a speech language pathologist, and I worked clinically in school settings and private practices, working primarily with pediatrics, with the child population. And a couple of years ago, I decided to go get my doctorate. I don't know what got into me. It was COVID, and I
Nice.
was just like, what am I doing
Congrats.
with my life? And I went back to school, got my doctorate also in speech language pathology with a focus on social emotional learning and development. And then immediately after I graduated, I had this opportunity to join a tech company. The tech company is called Voice It. The company does speech recognition for people with impaired speech. And so directly related to speech pathology, and then they needed my skills, my domain-specific knowledge to help influence the development of the product. And I worked as the customer success manager for about 3 years, until today, actually. And along the way, I really fell in love with tech and its ability to reach the masses and solve problems that otherwise couldn't be solved. So I just thought, tech can really help in the therapeutic space. And when we started to investigate what tech is available in the therapeutic space and what are therapists using, what are speech pathologists using, and occupational therapists, honestly, they aren't using much. And so there's a niche market there for us to enter. Along the way, to how the Babel Group started, and I don't, want to steal the show, but if that's a question that's gonna happen eventually, I'm happy to tell you.
Yeah, no, we can go right into that in a second. No, I think it's interesting what you said about how there's already a lot of value being provided to people in this space in speech pathology, but tech is often a good way if you have something that works on a small scale to scale it up. So I agree, like you're saying, that tech has a role to play there to really ramp that up and make it available to more people. So that's great that you're taking that on. But yeah, to go into the Babel Group. So I was looking at your guys' website. There's a lot of different products and services that you guys are offering. Um, are those like how did you come across those products? Did you know that there are certain things that already work and you went down
Yeah,
those paths, or did you are you trying out different things and you're still seeing what works best?
right. So I guess this comes down to the founder's story, and then we would have to kind of go into like how do we choose the products and how do we know what works and what doesn't.
Right.
So about less than a year ago, in October, my partner and I, Katie, we were colleagues at Voice It, and actually the opportunity arose for us to become sellers of the Voice It product. So there was an opportunity for resellers to step up and sell because they don't sell direct. And I said, hey, me, I want to do it. And I was just like, I knew there was something larger to come of this, that I wasn't just going to be a, a one-trick pony. And so I approached Katie. I was like, Katie, she's also a speech language pathologist, former Googler. And I said, Katie, you want to do this with me? She was like, hell yeah. So we
Right.
started with that product and another product that she had curated, and we set out on a mission, and the mission is basically to bring technology into the therapeutic space to bridge the gap for therapists as well as for the people they serve. And essentially, for therapists, we just really want to make their jobs easier, make their jobs more efficient, and make their jobs more gratifying, and essentially just hitting their targets and doing a better job for their patients. And obviously, when the therapists are happy and they're doing their job, then the patients are ultimately the recipients of that positivity and just overall good practice. So what goes into kind of curating these products is essentially people have over the 10 months, the young company that we are, we've begun to network with different startup founders, companies that are producing therapeutic products within our niche. And we found that many companies really want to work with us because we have this domain specific knowledge. We know the end users. We have a network of people. We're already selling into the school systems and the healthcare systems. So a lot of these companies have reached out or we've networked some, we met at events, different networking events or conferences, and things just happen from there, from networking. And then what we do really, and we don't accept every product because we've actually, what we do initially is when we get into these conversations about reselling, oftentimes the company is the one that really wants us to resell, and we go in and do some extensive testing on the product. We look at the value proposition and decide whether that's something that really represents our mission. So everything needs to be in line with our mission, and if it isn't, then we don't accept it. But sometimes a product isn't quite ready to go to market, but we know that it's on the right track. And so we have another arm of our business, which is a consulting arm. And what we do there is we actually help these companies bring their products to a point where it is ready to go to market. That's one of the services we provide. Another service, oftentimes with startups, is an issue with funding. Everyone's looking for funding, and there is the ability to get non-dilutive funding in the form of grants. But oftentimes these technical founders don't really know where to start, what grants they could apply for, how to apply for the grants, how to write grants. And we also provide that service for startups as well within our space because we know we have domain specific knowledge. So we're basically a one-stop shop for grants because we can write the grants, but then we can also project manage and write the research and write the IRB report. So we have, kind of like a one-stop shop um, for startups in the social impact realm.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. So you hit upon 2 points that I've noticed are very important for a successful startup, and that's having good domain knowledge and then having a great network. So it makes sense that you guys are doing well when you have those 2 points because domain knowledge. I mean, a lot of these bigger companies that you might think, oh, they'll just clear out the competition. They won't go into these smaller niches that you have that domain knowledge in, and then a network. I mean, that's essential for any kind of resources, reaching out to people, finding out more information, and also selling people to already have that network in place. That makes a lot of sense to me. And
Yeah,
so,
you hit upon a
yeah,
point. Oh, yeah. No, I was just thinking you hit upon a point that some of these larger companies, like there are larger companies who do similar things, but it's not as niche. It's not
right.
as focused as we are. So one of the advantages that we have is that we are so focused. Another advantage that we have is that we're small and we give individual attention. If these companies were to go work for give their products to conglomerates who have hundreds of products in their catalog, they're never going to have time with them and they're never going to be able to like their product just becomes another number. And how do they know how prioritization happens and what are the sales what are the sales goals, right? So we give very personalized attention to our clients.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's great. And I noticed that. See, I haven't seen someone that's had that business model before, where they're taking on other people's products and kind of bring them together onto a single as part of a single service or platform. And so how did you guys come across that initially, and what's the value added? Like, why is it that these companies can't go directly to market or directly? What value are you guys adding to that process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So So how we thought of this idea, actually, it came of necessity. Um, we knew, Katie and I, at the time when we started this company, that we weren't going to be profitable immediately and that we had value to offer in our time. And so we said, okay, let's do kind of two things simultaneously. Let's sell the products, but let's also offer our consulting services to any of these companies who need the talents that we have to offer.
Right.
And it started that way. And we thought, hey, people, clients started coming to us and saying, oh, yeah, I need help writing grants, or I need help developing the product so that it's appropriate for the American market. Many of the companies we work for are not US based. So their products are they're kind of market ready in the markets they're in, whether Europe or Israel, or in Katie was consulting for another company in Egypt. And so what we provide is we any of the talents that we have or the consultants that we can offer who also have um, talents within domain expertise, but also within technology. So we can help inform the development of the product so that later on, these developers and founders, technical founders, don't say, don't, bring to market and then they're like, oh, we made a huge mistake because we went down this road and we should have
Right.
gone down that road. And so what we do as consultants is basically prevent a lot of that later on regret that
Yeah.
people say I made the wrong decision. And so we're helping to sort of with our domain expertise, helping inform decision making.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. And it's funny how that works. Oftentimes you just go into a space and you set out to do one thing, and then it's the things that you run into along the way that you realize, oh, this is, these people need this, and that would provide them a lot of value. And then it ends up being, oh, that's really the business model, not even what you set out to do. So um, it kind of makes the case for not spending too much time planning on one thing and just hopping into things. And then that's when you really test things and see what actually is going to provide some value, and it might be something completely different. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point also because I find, especially in startups, like we work with clients, right? And we sell their products, and oftentimes we see that there's a product roadmap, and there's a real tendency to chase shiny objects, right? Like when an opportunity arises, and oh, there's an opportunity here, let's grab at it. And sometimes, if it's not in the mission or in the roadmap, it can be a real distractor. And
Yeah.
though I understand there, you have to balance opportunity
Yes. Yeah.
with your goals for your company. There's really it's really a tough call sometimes where like there are opportunities that can really bring you away from your core mission. And then you have a hard decision to make as a startup founder. You have to say, okay, do I chase this shiny object or do I keep digging for the diamond in my backyard?
Right. No, that's 100% true. Yeah. Have you come across any techniques for making that balancing act, or is it still?
I think we are I think the way to do it, and again, I don't know
Yeah.
that like I mean, I don't know that I'm like the best person to give this advice, but I think it makes a lot of sense that when you get started in your business, you should have a vision and you should write your vision down. And
Uh,
that vision should be your Bible. Like,
right.
and it can be a general vision, like a vision and a mission, but that should be your Bible and you shouldn't stray from that because that's really going to, if you stick with it, it's going to take you where you want to go. But if something is a distractor and it doesn't jive with your mission, then
Right.
it's a separate business, right? That's fine. Like if
Yeah.
you want to like say, okay, I'm not doing this, I'm going there, but don't start, hodgepodge building stuff into something that wasn't originally the intention. So that's why I really think it's important for a company to have a vision and a mission. And you need to really, if opportunities arise that don't coincide or fit into that vision or mission, then either you say no or you say, I'm going to put this vision, mission, business aside to take that opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree because and sometimes they call it a North Star. You need some kind of guiding thing that you can always follow to keep you on track. But at the same time, that gives you enough leniency to navigate all the different hurdles and stuff that you'll face along the way, but while still staying in that same direction. But yeah, no, it can definitely be a problem for even like the some of the smartest people. So my brother recently gave me a book on Nikola Tesla, and he was a genius in his day in electrical engineering. And what I noticed is, or what was clear, was that he is a genius, and he did, he's not like a charlatan or something, but he just worked on so many different things that never really became a product. And then so I think for that reason, people tend to remember Edison more than him, even though he was probably much knew the technology much better than Edison, but he didn't ultimately bring it through into a product that helped people. So yeah, something to be learned there.
Yeah, and that's another great point because um, we are, Katie and I are kind of straddle between the intersection of business, entrepreneurship, and research and
Yeah,
evidence-based practice. And
right.
so we're straddling these two, and they're like polar opposites because if you think about research and academia, they're constantly stuck in research and proving whether it's this product is if a university is working on a product that you can almost bank on it that it's never going to see the light of day because it's never
Uh,
ready. These researchers are
right.
always saying, okay, we need to research more. We need to compile more evidence that it works. But then on the flip side, the entrepreneurial spirit is like, to hell with this, right? Like,
Yeah,
I have a viable product. I'm just going to hit the market and see where and run with it and take whatever opportunities come my way. And let's just follow the lead of the product. So in that sense, that's like a total flip side of academia and evidence based and research. And so Katie and I, we like to think of ourselves as like the balance. It's like always a balancing act. Like when is a product ready? And when is a product still needs to be further developed and further researched versus when is it ready to hit the ground? And I think there is a happy medium between the two. We do find oftentimes that there are companies that come to us and they're like, yeah, we just want to hit the market and see what the market says. And we're like, okay, no, like,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember you mentioned about IBR's approval, and so I imagine since you guys are kind of in a health space, there's a lot of other parties you have to work with, and maybe some regulation and stuff. So, how's it been working with those and still keeping it efficient to get out to market? Like, is it? I guess you mentioned you guys kind of have a streamlined approach that you give to other companies when you're consulting.
Yeah, so a lot of it is subjective, right? Like when what we think is ready for market for someone else, they may say that it's not ready, or another person may say, "Oh yeah, it's ready. Let's just hit the market and see what it does."
Yeah.
So a lot of it is subjective, but I think many companies trust our gut and trust our opinion because we've been in the business for a while. Both of us have worked in tech and have been therapists for over 20 years and 40 years combined between the two of us. So they trust us, but with some of the research-based work that we do, oftentimes it's actually related to the grant work. So if a company is looking to apply for a grant, uh, even if it's a grant that's aimed for going to market, so it's not like a R&D grant, but rather a grant that will allow it to actually hit the market and develop something for the market or improve a product for the market. You still need an IRB because if your project management involves human participants, so
Hmm.
as part of the grant, if you're testing your product on human participants, you still need IRB approval. So that's where some of that research comes in to the development of the product.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And so just to back up a bit, when you're getting into this space, did you have a mentor that guided you through things? I guess if you had gotten a PhD, you would have had a academic mentor, but who would you say is your main mentor, or if you had one throughout this startup research process?
Yeah, so I think the most influential person along my journey was actually my life coach.
Okay,
Um, and I think like I live by the mantra, if you have a why, then you could overcome any how.
yeah,
And uh, a lot of that played into my decisions along the way. But the um, the thing is, sometimes you really need to figure out what is your why. And then
yeah,
once you figure out what your why is, so she helped me figure out my why,
that's good.
and it helped me make the right decisions along the way. Because again, you're going to have opportunities. And so there are going to be many roads that you can go down. And it's really what is your guiding star, like you said,
Yeah,
so that you can go to the next step that'll lead you to your end goal that you want. I I think that, of course, I've had business mentors along the way, but it was mostly one-off mentors to help me get to like the next stage in my business. So,
sure.
like if I wanted to do something with accounting, so I would talk to somebody specifically about that. And so, but I think ultimately, if you have a why and you have a good person that's going to be your cheerleader, then you can do anything.
Yeah. No, that's great. I've often thought about should I get a life coach or some, someone external to like point out where I'm making mistakes or where I'm hitting pitfalls. I'm procrastinated on it so far of having like I guess for a little bit I had sort of a startup mentor through this one startup app where they provide mentors to you. But yeah, it's a great idea to get a life coach. What do you think it is that they're able to see or how they're able to give you advice that enable you to find that why?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So I think the key is that like my life coach is actually she's a social worker, so there's obviously a lot of psychology here, but I think the key is that oftentimes we're our own worst enemy, right?
Yeah,
And we don't see the things that we do to ourselves that are actually blockers and holding ourselves back. So I think what a life coach does is hold a mirror up to you and say, "Hey, you see it? You see it now?" And then you're like, yeah, I see it. Okay, I got to fix that, right?" And so some of the things that, are holding yourself back, the coach can help you kind of untangle that. And when you untangle that, it's like freeing. It's like, wow, like I just got wings and I am able to really fly and soar. And the thing is that we constantly need that refresher. So the life coach actually helps you when you start to create knots again, because we always resort to old habits and we're always going to be going back to our old systems and habits that have kind of carried us our whole life and may be entrenched in, some childhood trauma or whatever. We all carry baggage, right? So there's I think it's always helpful to have someone who's like your person.
yeah. No, completely agree. There's those things, of course, that you don't even notice about yourself that someone external can point out. But I oftentimes find myself there's something that I know if someone just point or someone just I know I shouldn't be doing or I should be doing, and if someone was there and was just acknowledge that, then I would course correct and I would do it or not do whatever case it was. But it's just by yourself, you just don't have that ability sometimes, and just having
Yes, you
someone else
don't.
just say it is all the difference. So it's amazing
Exactly.
that is. Yeah,
And it's like you sometimes know, like you said, but then the coach is like, okay, what are you going to do about it? Right? What are the
right.
steps you're going to take? And they almost hold you accountable, right? Like, okay, you said you're going to do X, Y, and Z this week to help you with that problem. And then the following week, she or he is like, did you
Right. Yeah.
do
Even
it?
just knowing that, yeah, that I'm gonna have a
Right.
meeting with this person that I've developed a relationship with next week. I don't want to disappoint them, so I better actually make some tangible changes to this. So yeah, even that's good too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
holding yourself accountable, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely that's the other thing, right? The coach holds you accountable
Yeah.
to making
Yeah.
those changes.
That can be big. Yeah. It can be
Yeah.
uncomfortable, but it makes a big difference. Yeah. But yeah, we were talking before about vision, North Star, guiding star. So, what is your vision for your company, your startup, ultimately? And feel free to go into as much scale as you want if you have big ambitions for it, or whatever it might be. So,
Yeah. So one book that I highly recommend is it's called Traction by Gino
okay,
Wickman. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I haven't,
It's
but yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah.
definitely check it out. It's a great book on establishing your vision and your mission for your company and ensuring that everyone you bring into the company will is aware of the mission and will work towards that mission. And so part of
Yeah.
that is um, you have to create a mission document, like a vision document of your 1 year goal and your 3 year goal and your 10 year goal. And Katie and I are currently working through this document, but our vision and our mission remains the same. And I think we had a head start even before I picked up this book. We had a head start because we are a mission driven company and everything we do is for that mission to really bring technology into the therapeutic space and bring technology to people who are underserved and have that technology really enable them to achieve their goals. So that's our mission, and obviously our goal is to just scale that because we want to reach as many people as possible to bring our products and our services to help to establish, better therapy processes, enable therapists who are experiencing a huge amount of burnout
Mhm.
from clinical based work. And I think technology can really help bring their passion back, bring back their why they entered this profession. And people don't want to be doing busy work. They don't want to be doing secretarial work. They don't want to be doing documentation. They want to be doing therapy. They want to be making an impact. And we want to bring back that impact on both the therapist level as well as the patient and client level.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a great goal to have because I mean, anyone, which is many people that have had any kind of major health or mental health issue. I mean, it's the difference between a good life and a bad life. Being able to have something that solves that problem, and resolves that pain point for you. So it's definitely one of the. I mean, we can become as wealthy as we want, but if we don't have our health, of course, then there's not much um, to to enjoy. So yeah, no, I appreciate that vision. And so, um, to talk a bit more about this, I guess if you want to call it an industry or whatever you might call it. So, how big are the problems that you guys are solving, and what if you could tell me a bit more about the market research or what you've heard about this space, and yeah, just where it's going, what's happening in it.
Yeah, so it is a pretty niche market.
Yeah.
And like when I say we make therapeutic products for the therapy space, there's like a lot of times no frame of reference for people because it's so niche. So people are like, "Oh, you mean a machine to help people like do their exercises?" And I'm like, "No, it's more holistic." And so the products that the products that we curate and sell have specific goals. Some of them are in the realm of giving therapists the tools they need to achieve their goals in their therapy sessions. So we have one product, which is like Netflix for therapists. It has everything a therapist may need to do therapy, where they don't need to schlep materials from place to place, and they may, not have the right material on hand. So it's all on a web-based application. It's also multilingual. So we have 7 different languages. It's also cross disciplinary. So multiple different professions can use it. This product is called Cognishine, and we're entering a space, a lot of our products. So just to talk about the market research and the competition, so to speak, is that right now there really isn't a lot out there for solving the problems that we're trying to solve. And even the stuff that is out there it's like very specific. So, for example, there are many therapeutic products that deal with therapy for specific disorders. So this is cognitive therapy. This is therapy for people who have had a stroke. This is therapy for children and not for adults. And the tool that's just one example of one of the products is like an all-encompassing application for everything. It's a one-stop shop. So, a lot of the products are truly innovative, and that's the other thing. When we look into products, we're not just looking to make a quick buck, because we're really looking to innovate. So, and really bring products that aren't on the market. And so there's a lot sometimes it's harder to break through when your products are so innovative and there's no frame of reference for a comparison, right? So
Yeah.
it's hard to be truly innovative.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. I mean, it's good to have competitors sometimes. I mean, it depends. I mean, so in one sense, if your competitor is marketing, they're developing the customers, then that customer, when you talk to them, is aware of the product. But of course, there's advantages of being an early actor too. So I guess it again, everything always gets down to the trade-offs. But you mentioned so it's for generalized therapy, like any kind of therapy.
Speech
How?
therapy, occupational
Yeah,
therapy, psychology, social work. We're expanding into physical therapy, and nutrition as well.
nice. And nutrition, I think that's one of the most important things in this country for us to get down. So yeah, no, that's a good one. And so, how do you mind just going into like a specific example for one of your products, how it generalizes across those different domains, just so I have a better idea of like how you guys are bridging between those?
Yeah, so this specific product you it helps across all those domains because we have over 3,000 different activities across the domains of speech, language, cognition, and social emotional learning. And as we expand, we're going to include nutrition, psychology, um, and expand what our current offerings. The product actually allows you to customize your activities. So you can, as a therapist, go in and create your own decks, create your own activities uh, based on category. So if you're, for example, wanting to talk about vegetables, you can go in and create an activity on vegetables. Um, we know that many of our patients are sometimes cognitively impaired. And so we have different levels of how to present the activities depending on the cognitive ability of the patient. So it's quite customizable for each profession, for the disorder, and for the therapy goals.
Okay, so basically you're saying that any given therapist in various fields, they're going to follow typically this pattern of creating some activity for their patient to follow in order to resolve whatever difficulty they're having. And so you've created a generalized way, a framework to create those activities for them,
Exactly. Because
right?
in typically, if a therapist was, for example, working on memory, right? That's an activity that happens most of the time for individuals who are cognitively impaired, who may have had a stroke, who have had maybe some life-changing event, a traumatic brain injury. So a therapist would come in and do a memory game, as an example,
Yeah,
right? Simple memory game. That's working directly on memory. Traditionally, the way you would work on a memory game is how you and I would think about it when we were kids, right? You would take the
yeah.
cards out, set it up on the table, um, and then have everybody flip the cards and check if you had a match, and then you would talk about the cards, right? So there's obviously an extension to just the memory. We also want to induce language and speech, but that's that whole process is now digitized And the other thing is oftentimes the content of these games are not appropriate for, adults. Like you don't want to bring in like um Elmo and,
Yeah,
like an
yeah,
Elmo memory game, right? It needs to be very content specific and appropriate for adults. So we have memory games that also target the different aspects of an adult's life, what they will see in their daily life. So we could actually custom create a memory game about tools and cleaning supplies, for example, or kitchen utensils, or prepared foods, like things that people are actually going to use in
right.
their daily life.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So it really is like a generalizable tool for any kind of therapy, and I'd love to see sometime. I'll have to go on your website to see how exactly you pull these activities together. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah,
But
and that's just one
yeah,
product. That's just
and
one
that's just one
product.
right? Yeah.
Cognishine, that's one product that we just spoke about. And we have right now 7 products, and we're about to add an 8th product. Most
Wow.
of our products are technologies, though we do currently have 2 hard copy physical products in our store, and we're about to add another physical product into our store. So there,
And what are those? Yeah,
not all the innovations are technologies. There are also innovations that are physical things that you can actually use.
nice. And what are some of those new ones?
So we are adding just now. Last week we launched a partnership with NairChat, which is they have a product. So that's the name of the company is called NairChat, and the product is called Glint. And the product is basically it's an AI-based visuals creator. So it allows therapists to create visual communication boards for people who are non-speaking, or to create visual schedules for both adults and children who are cognitively impaired. So oftentimes with adults, they need to, if they had a stroke, either their reading is impaired, they work well with visuals, and they need to remember
Hmm,
how to do the things that we
right.
do every day in our life, right? Like how do you brush your teeth? What are the steps you need to take for brushing your teeth? So this thing actually creates these boards and visuals for you within seconds using AI. And because therapists traditionally needed to take their own time to create these types of materials for their patients, it would sometimes take hours out of their own time, these therapists would take.
Yeah,
And so either the patient suffered because the clinician just didn't have the time to create these boards for them, or the clinician suffered because they took time of that out of their weekend to create communication boards for their patients.
yeah, right. Yeah, something has to give, and anytime you can reduce the time that it takes to do something, then that's value you're creating for someone. So yeah, of course, you got all these products, and a big vision of creating a generalized platform for various therapies. Of course, it's very ambitious. What's been some of the biggest challenges with getting all of this big vision, bringing it into reality?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, honestly, the biggest challenge is awareness and
Uh,
getting people to listen, right? I know that I have some value to offer, but people are so inundated with these cold sales calls, cold sales
yeah,
emails, LinkedIn cold messages, right? Like people are just so sick of it that it's so hard to weed out the, the diamond in the rough, so to speak.
sure, yeah,
And I think that's our biggest challenge, honest, is just awareness and getting people to give us the time of day for us to explain what we do. We're not trying to shove things down people's throat that they don't need, but we know that there's going to be some value that these therapists are going to find in the products that we offer. And so just getting people to try our products even. We do offer free trials for most of them. So it's I think awareness is our biggest challenge.
awareness, yeah, yeah. No, I I empathize with that struggle because the other like a month ago I was trying to for my own product that I'm working on onboard a dentist, and we got all the way there. He signed the papers just for beta testing, free beta testing, and integrated with his practice management system. But then at some point after we had done all the hard part, he decided he bailed on it, and he just I'm not sure what the reason was. He just maybe didn't maybe he was concerned about AI and medical information, or maybe it was some other reason. But yeah, it's there, especially in this case, dentists, they don't really need to. It's nice to solve their pain points, but at the end of the day, they are they're making enough money, they're doing fine, so they don't need you. So especially there's so many in that industry, so many people selling stuff to them. It's tough to really get through that and yeah, create that awareness, like you said.
Yeah. Setting
Yeah.
yourself apart from the noise, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. Um, so, and maybe you already just went over this, but for the last question I had, what were some of the if there's another startup potential founder listening to this, what are some of the best piece of advice that you would give them that would help them skip a lot of the struggles that you may have faced and allow them to have a better chance of starting a company?
Yeah, I think struggles will always happen,
Yeah.
right? And failure will happen. And I think the reason we're founders is that we're not afraid of a skinned knee or a
Yeah.
bumped elbow. And we get up again and we dust off and we continue on our merry way. That's the nature of founding a company. But I think, again, just going back to what I said, make sure your why is super
Yeah.
sharp and because that's what's going to keep you hanging on in the tough times. Keep your why and get your person. Get that one person who's going to be your cheerleader and see you through those tough times and help guide you through those tough times.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the why is powerful, and I've definitely been a subscriber to that idea over the years, and it makes a big difference. And it's easy to lose track of that. You go through so many things that, especially you're working on a deep problem, that you get so deep into the weeds with it that you lose that high level perspective. So it's good to every so often return to that.
My coach
Um,
says what she says to me often is she's like, and I'll explain what it means, but it's more like an inside joke. She's like, stop folding laundry.
yeah,
Sometimes you get into the like nitty gritty of things in your business or your startup, and you forget what you need to do to get yourself to the next level. You're just literally just doing, the laundry just keeps coming because it's never going to end. So
right.
you're going to keep folding the laundry instead of working on the things in your business that are going to really propel you forward. So that's the other thing. Like, don't get stuck on the treadmill, right? Just
Yeah,
doing the same things over and over again. Of course, you're surviving, right? That's survival mode, but you want to get out of survival mode. So you really need to take the actions that'll help propel your business and not just keep things going.
yeah. No, it's definitely true because a lot of times you end up just feeling like, oh, as long as I get some kind of work done, I won't feel guilty. At least I'm working towards it. But then you just end up doing busy work. You're not actually
Exactly.
working towards
Exactly.
the actual goal. And then so you have to really take that step back and see it's not about just doing work. It's about what you're actually accomplishing and if you're
Exactly.
moving towards the end goal and providing value. So it's good to always keep that in mind and yeah, move forward in that way. But yeah, it's been great talking with you, Rachel. Those are all my questions. But was there anything else that you wanted to cover as far as your
No,
products
I
or anything
think it was
else?
great.
That's
It was fun talking, Brendan.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure. I always love when someone has like an academic background because they can really go into in depth about whatever subject matter that they're working on. So yeah, it's been great and good luck with everything, Rachel.
Great. Thanks, Brendan. You too.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.